And we are back on WGN TV Political Report. So it's still mostly quiet on Capitol Hill. Congress nears the end of the August recess, but some major legislative battles await lawmakers when they return next month. For now, Democrats are touting the one-year mark since they passed the Inflation Reduction Act, a sweeping bill that they say is lowering the cost of energy production and addressing climate change by helping businesses that work to reduce greenhouse emissions. But at a time where extreme weather is more prevalent than ever nationwide, including high temps in Chicago, is there more Congress can do to help? Well, joining me this morning, Congressman Sean Casten, a Democrat representing Illinois' 6th congressional district, joins me. And when we're talking about energy, you're the perfect person to talk to, Congressman. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks. A pleasure to be here, Paul.
First of all, for those who say, yeah, the Inflation Reduction Act does all this work in the energy world, is it a misnomer? President Biden himself has said he wished it wasn't called the Inflation Reduction Act because all evidence points to the fact that it hasn't done that, but it has given a lot of effort to energy.
Well, look, we do all sorts of funny things about how we name bills in Washington, but the two big pieces of the Inflation Reduction Act were, number one, to get capital out to make it easier to build generators that have lower energy costs. If you've got an inefficient furnace in your basement and an efficient furnace in your basement, you're going to run the one that doesn't use as much fuel. And by making it easier for us to put power plants on the grid, cars in people's driveways that cost less to run, that's more money in your pocket, and that's anti-inflationary. The other big thing that we've done within the Inflation Reduction Act that sometimes gets less attention is hugely cutting the cost of healthcare, putting a cap on insulin at $35. There's 4,300 people just in my district who are now saving about $500 a year on their insulin, making it easier for people to get health insurance, which means they get savings there. I got another 20,000 constituents who have saved on that. And that's even before the changes kick in next year that cap people's out-of-pocket Medicare Part D expenses, which is 150,000 seniors. So that's a big deal. Would I have wished it was named something else? Sure, but the quibbling about the names of bills doesn't get you very far.
Well, so before I leave the topic of reducing inflation, then I guess let me just ask you this. For viewers who are watching, they might say, okay, then what does Congress need to do to try and address inflation? We know with the Fed, they're considering maybe another rate increase in September. Is there anything Congress can do?
Well, when we went through to try to figure out how to recover an economy that was in free fall 2 years ago, we took a very conscious decision not just to leave this all to the Fed. We did that in 2008, right? And we saw what happened. It helped the banks. It helped people who had relationships with banks, and it left a whole generation behind. So what we did was to get money into folks' pockets. And yes, inflation is still too high, although it's down dramatically from where it was a year ago. But what's even faster than CPI, the cost of inflation in goods and services, is wages. Wages are growing faster than cost of goods, and they're growing fastest for the lowest quartiles of wealth in our economy. And that's really good, and it's part of what explains why we're seeing the economy continue to grow, even when every economist says this shouldn't happen, because folks have more money in their pocket that they want to spend. So I think Congress has done a great job to make sure that we're getting money where it matters. And yes, we're still recovering from the COVID downturn, but 90% of it's behind us at this point.
So when you look at the kinds of things that are happening around the country, around the world, I mentioned Chicago's high temperatures, but look, Maui's wildfire, the nonstop rain in Vermont, Arizona's heat emergency, it goes on all over. My question is this. I don't know if you watched the Republican debate this past week, but when the young Republican asked the candidates, what are you going to do about climate change? DeSantis basically cut off the conversation, and Ramaswamy said, this is all a hoax, and the only problem we have are energy programs. What do you say to Republicans and young Republicans to get them on board to understand that the problems are real?
Well, look, what I find is that nobody outside of Washington is under any delusion that the climate is not heating up. There's nobody who understands the basic physics who looks at what's going on and says this isn't what's predicted. And frankly, if people don't believe me, go read what Exxon was writing 30 years ago. Exxon's climate scientists more or less predicted that if we stayed on the trajectory we were on, we were going to see everything we're seeing now, from heat waves to floods to wildfires, and now we're living in that reality. We have a massive amount of human pain. Just talked to my colleague Jill Takuda, who represents Lahaina, and hearing the horrors in Hawaii, it is tragic. I was in Vermont shortly after the floods there and saw that. These things are tragic. We have to address them, but the way we address them is not by trying to score cheap political points. It's by saying, how do we get people access to the energy, the quality of life we deserve without burning fossil fuel? We know how to do that, but we've got to deploy the capital to get it done. What we did in the Inflation Reduction Act, which is the single biggest climate bill ever passed by any government anywhere, puts us on a track to get about 40% of the way there, which is to say that the biggest climate bill ever passed by any government anywhere is 60% short of what's necessary. And I'm really proud of doing that. I don't mean to say that we shouldn't, do a dance in the end zone, but we've got to keep working. And in particular, we have to make sure that some of the policy changes that we didn't get to make in the Inflation Reduction Act get made as we move forward. And look, if you don't believe in climate science, do it because you're greedy and you don't want to pay as much for energy. That's fine. We can work together, but we got to act.
You've written that the goal of U.S. energy policy, in most people's view, would be to minimize energy cost and pollution, incentivize innovation, rely on domestic supply, but we don't actually live that philosophy.
Yeah, well, the challenge we've always had in America is that we confuse the upstream and downstream end. I was chatting with some folks last week that I said, if somebody said we should be very careful about addressing obesity in this country because it might affect the income of our cattle farmers, you'd say that's a stupid argument. That makes no sense, right? And yet, when we say, should we invest in insulating homes, investing in conservation, helping people get access to lower cost solar energy, wind energy, too often you hear, well, what would that do for the oil and gas sector? What would that do for parts of the Gulf Coast or Appalachia? And yes, we should be sensitive to those people, but we shouldn't confuse those two things. And a part of the reason why there's that tension in what you mentioned is that too often in this country, we provide massive subsidies to energy extraction and then small incentives for energy conservation. Yeah. And if we could get rid of those subsidies on the upstream end, man, we would unleash so much innovation, as many of our trading partners have done. We're getting there, but we got a long way to keep going.
How much hope do you have that a defense bill, which now has a version of it passed the Senate, one passed the House, but they have to be reconciled? The Freedom Caucus, of course, has a lot of issues about a lot of abortion and anti-LGBTQ policies. And you've got federal funding coming up October 1st, where several Freedom Caucus members have said we have to address the woke Pentagon, the weaponization of the DOJ, and border security. How likely are those things to pass?
I'm very nervous. We're watching in Washington right now, not a fight between Democrats and Republicans, but a Republican Party at war with itself. In the last 4 years, we always got all of our appropriations bills done through the floor, typically on a pretty bipartisan basis by the end of July. And we only got one through this time. As you mentioned, it has some things that are horrible for troop morale. I mean, can you imagine telling someone in the military who disobeyed a direct order that they have to be reinstated? What does that do for morale? Well, they got provisions in the bill they passed that said that if the violation of a direct order was, not getting a COVID vaccine. How do you attract people to the military if you say there's health care you need, but I'm going to assign you to a base in a state that doesn't provide it, and I'm not going to allow you to travel? That's what the bill that was passed says to women in our armed services. And it's not that every Republican in Congress agrees with that, but that the sort of the moderate wing of the Republican Party is so far unwilling or unable to stand up to their more radical wing. And it's going to be tough because we've only got about 2 weeks to get all our work done when we get back to Washington in September, before we're going to be looking at a government shutdown and a lot of pain for a lot of people. And I hope the adults take the wheel of the car soon.
You got a lot of big issues to talk about. I do, before I leave you, want to congratulate you. Obviously, your job is mainly about constituent services. You were recognized as a finalist in the Congressional Management Foundation's Democracy Award. You came in second in the country. That ain't bad, Congressman.
Yeah, no, I'm really proud. We got to work to make first place next time. But as I told a town hall last night, you should see all the Best Picture nominees. So to be
I love it.
Nominees there was terrific. It's a testament to our staff who does such great work in the district for all our constituents.
Congratulations, Congressman Sean Casten. Sean Casten, I appreciate your time. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Paul.
All right. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and after this, is there a compromise at City Hall that could change the way Chicago taxes home sales? We've got the details on a major mayoral agenda item. That's coming up next. Don't go anywhere.